everyone to another episode of the Talking Sam. I am your host, Sam Wacias, and with me today is the one and only fitness coach guru, geek specialist, cosplayer aficionado, the one and only Kaori Takee. Kaori, thank you for
Hi.
joining me today.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm happy to be here chatting with you, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not the first time we've chatted. We've chatted on multiple times before throughout the years, and I think this is the first time we're doing it over a video chat. Just want to say how you been. How's your day going so far? How's everything going?
Been okay. 2023 has been a year of challenges, I think, for many that I'm noticing. I'm not a very big superstitious person, but if I were to be, 2023, I think is going to be another year of growth, just like 2020 was. So overall,
Nice,
good. Yeah.
nice. That's good to hear. It's good to hear. Now, when I first met you and discovered you, you were a on-air talent doing work for AfterBuzz TV and various other companies around there in Hollywood. You since then migrated to being a fitness coach, being a personal
hmm
trainer during a pandemic, whether it be in person or video chat. Real quick before we get into more of that, what was that like doing that transition, being from being an on-air talent, doing like the interviews and red carpet talks to being a more fitness coach?
That's a tricky one there because I do feel like I never fully attained my dream status in terms of the on-air talent. I wanted more and I could have went further, but I also quite enjoy uh training people and helping people get healthier. And I find more I find it more of a rewarding experience. And to be successful in anything that you do, I think you have to give it 100%. And when it comes to the entertainment industry, I think the reality is even if you give it 100%, you might never get there 100%. But I think in other aspects, like personal training or coaching, you can get there. So I kind of inherently continued that route because I was getting a lot more um, personal response, and rewards along the way faster. And so that's kind of how I ended up being further along in personal training than on my on air side. And it's not that I've let it go, it's just when the more you put in one thing, the more you have to let go of other things. So
Right.
that's kind of the transition there. Yeah.
Now, how did you first get into being an on-air talent? Was there a certain school you had to go through, or was
Hmm.
there a program that you were introduced to?
So I remember ever since I was a little girl, I always wanted to actually be a journalist. I wanted to be an anchor, or and it stemmed from watching Good Day LA. Before going to school, I'd watch Good Day LA and I'd see those guys, and I thought they were a really fun group, and
Hmm.
I felt like, man, I want to have a job where I just have fun all the time and I'm being informative and giving information.
Right.
Um, and then I ended up going to school, majored in communications, and then uh, I guess I kind of took a break from that because it did scare me at one point when they said if you want to be a journalist, you're going to make peanuts for a long time and you might never make it. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that, right? I'd rather just make a lot of money. But then I realized, no, I do want to do that. So then I started looking for gigs, taking free gigs, doing whatever I can, taking seminars, taking courses, and then AfterBuzz came along, and then that's kind of like connections are made, and you just got to keep trudging along, um, and then have fun as well. And I think this world of social media does give people access to have fun and do as much or as little as they can. Um, but it is very time consuming, so it just depends how much you want to get out of it. So.
Right.
Mhm.
Uh, with those who weren't aware what AfterBuzz was, it was kind of a internet after show kind of network started off by Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro. How did you ever meet them before you
Yeah.
started? You did. Okay. Did you go in for an interview? How did they reach out to you? Did they meet you at one of the seminars that you went, or
Uh, AfterBuzz was kind of a word of mouth thing. So I used to work at Extra TV,
okay,
and Maria Menounos worked at Extra TV um, as an on-air talent. She was like an anchor, and
right?
that's kind of how I heard about that because I didn't hear directly from her, but from someone who worked with me. Like, oh, she knows she does this AfterBuzz show. So I was like, okay, well, what's the email I reached out to? And it was Phil Svitek at the time, and I reached out to him, and that's kind of how that formed. I don't even know if AfterBuzz exists anymore. I think it doesn't.
It that from what last I saw, the channel is still up, but they haven't posted anything in years.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I am, but I do think that I've made huge friendships there, great experiences, people who I would never have otherwise met. It was a wonderful time. And I hope there's another platform like that for other aspiring on-air talent and beyond. So,
definitely. Just your quick opinion, you would think something like that probably would have gotten another boost during the pandemic because a lot of times there was so much shows that were still on there, still out there, still showing. And at the same time, there were still people looking for more content to see. After shows, podcasts was still on the rise. Why do you think, in your opinion, that they didn't capitalize or they didn't seize the opportunity to be that transition from a to video to podcast to try and still stay around and give you guys more of a opportunity to still have a jobs?
I have no idea, and this would be a guess, and I hesitate to even make a guess, but it would just be the amount of work it takes to keep um, content going when, during the pandemic, people aren't allowed to come in and see each other. And then production, how can people produce and create with limited access of seeing each other, really? Or, I mean,
Right.
I guess you can do it online, but I guess my guess is it just costs money ultimately. And that's really hard to upkeep when a lot of people aren't making money. And I think that's kind of what happened, maybe. I don't know. Um, Overall, I believe that whoever was up charge was probably going through a lot as well. So everyone's had their thing. Yeah.
Nice. Now,
What do you think, though? That's
oh, great question. I never been asked this.
these are all speculations,
Yeah,
obviously.
speculations. A lot of things could have happened. I think it could have been a lot of like you said, the pandemic changed a lot in the aspect in your guys' world as well, especially with well, especially with a lot of the on-air talents when it comes to like Collider. They used to do a lot of studio stuff. Close friends of yours, the Schmoes, the movie
Hmm.
trivia Schmodown, they were going riding high. Pandemic hit, kind of torpedoed it, and then they tried to recover, never did. I
Hmm.
I just think probably the video probably face was missing, like the like kind of like this, but in like multiple people in the studio era is probably what they were missing, and they weren't able to deliver that after. Is my guess.
Yeah.
Probably not a eloquent answer, but
Yeah. No, that's a hard answer. It's a hard thing to know.
and during your time being on Honor and Talent, you did a lot of red carpet interviews, going out talking to lost stars here and there for a lot of premieres. Was there one premiere in particular you remember that just stands out to you the most when you were talking to a certain celebrity that gave you an answer that's like, oh, okay, wasn't expecting that kind of answer?
Man, off the top of my head, I currently can't think of anyone right at this moment, but if I Sorry, that's a terrible answer, but I
No,
really
you're
can't.
good.
I can tell you that yeah, no, I just can't. If we can go back to that question. If I think about it, I'll cut you off
Yeah,
and say, "Hey, I remember now," but I
I don't
can't
know.
think of
Cool.
anyone that really
Absolutely.
struck me.
No, no, you're good. You're good. But real quick, probably just to reword that question, what is kind of the difference when you're doing a assignment like that in juxtaposition of a press junket, where you're inside a room, you're talking to someone face to face, you're given 3 to 5 minutes. Is that a different like mindset when you're doing something like that, in opposed to you're outside, so many people around you, and you're just trying to get quick question right away?
Well, that's exactly it. It's like quick question right away. You feel really rushed, especially the more of the star you get,
Mm-hmm.
they always end up being the last ones there. They're always
Mm-hmm.
rush, 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 and you get like one question, 2 minutes, and you have someone in the back saying like wrap it up, wrap it up. You don't really get that in a press junket in the same capacity at all. And you feel like you can talk slower and you can think, you can really listen, you can engage. Um, so in that way, I think press junkets are a lot more easy, the one-on-one piece. Whereas the red carpets feel very, you're squeezed, you're rushed, you're cold, you're waiting. It's a very different vibe. Both are fun, but they're both very different.
Right. In that sense, why is there a press junket you remember doing that was enjoyable to do, that you had a lot of good time doing, that you can remember off the top of your head?
That as well.
That's well.
I just don't really, I can't, I think it's just been so long
Mm-hmm.
that I can't really remember. Um, yeah, and I can't either. That one I also will have to get back to you, and I apologize.
No, 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 you're good. You're good on that. Are you looking to get back in that game of being on your talent?
Um, I'm always open to it. Uh, and I'm always interested and I would love to. And on occasion, I have been asked to do those things or do Zoom interviews. But I have said no and declined when I have to do fitness coaching
Mm,
things that I've already made previous uh, promises. Um, so that's the hard piece. My clients and people who rely on me are really important to me. So it's hard. It's like you have to tell me a little more in advance
right.
than I recently have been asked. I think lately I've been like a backup, like, oh, I remember her.
Okay.
And it's like, I can't. I mean, if you told me like a week ago, sure, but you're telling me the night before. So I'm open to it, but it just hasn't been a priority, unfortunately. And it makes, when I talk about it, I miss doing it. But I guess my life has changed, that it just feels different now, I guess.
Right. And talking about that change, you're doing a new fitness system, a new fitness your fitness coach now. How's that been like so far? Because the last time we talked, you're still doing the over the video
Sure.
communications with your clients. Are you doing more of the in person now, or are they still just only video?
Yeah, I would say my training now is 99.9% in person, with the
Okay.
exception of a couple clients who I've had since the pandemic. And because of where they live, um, it is a lot easier, obviously, to do video, but I will not take any more video sessions because I do think now, like before, I thought, oh, I should do more video. But now that I'm coming back into the one-on-one live training, I think that is an unbeatable experience. And I think it's really important to have a one-on-one experience with your trainer. I don't think video is good. It will cover it. I don't think apps cover it. I think one-on-one with a person is makes a huge difference. So yeah, that's why I'm like going back to just in-person training or have been back in-person training.
Nice. And how different has it been starting off from where it first was,
Uh-huh.
just like again, like you said, just doing the video and everything else like that, to where it is now being 99% more in person? Is it more Is it more of a better feeling being around people, helping them out, getting more
I
active?
see. Yes. I think being around other trainers, it brings the energy as well. And then it's nice to look at other trainers and see what they're doing and learn from them, be around like-minded individuals. It feels more structured, and also I think as someone who's grown in the industry, I'm a lot more confident. Um, I have more comfort being authoritative to my
Mm,
clients. Um, so I think like with any job, when you first start a job, in the beginning you're kind of uncomfortable. And then as you go on and go on, you become more confident. And I think that's the difference is now I'm very confident in what I do. And
right.
I think oftentimes if a client doesn't want to work with me, then we're a mismatch. I don't get butthurt about it. So those are the differences that have happened over time.
Okay. Now,
Hmm.
and have you, as a fitness coach, have you learned any new techniques when it comes to coaching individuals that you never met before, meeting them for the first time? Are you trying to be a as open as you can be, trying to get their gauge and where they are fitness wise, and then later on you'd be more of a stern, let's go. I know you could push more kind of coach.
Me, I think I am naturally an empath or
Mm,
empathic. So I feel very much what people are feeling. Um, and I think as soon as someone's coming in to meet me, they already don't feel comfortable in their skin at some level. And I'm very compassionate. So I try to let them know that you're fine where you are, but we can make you better. That's kind of where I go. So I'm definitely not a drill sergeant kind of trainer, and I tell them that from the get-go. I tell them I'm the kind of trainer that will start slow
hmm.
and then we'll elevate because I'd rather have you grow than go crazy and then get hurt and then injured and then you get start all over. It's a lot easier for me to crank it up a notch than to turn it down
Right.
when you're already in pain. So that's kind of my motto. I think people that come and see me, or people who don't come and see me, everyone has strengths and weaknesses. So I look for their strengths and we work on those. And I see what their weaknesses are and we make them stronger. So that's kind of where I lie as well. Um, the one thing I have trouble with is people's diets,
Mm.
people, and as you've seen, I'm sure you've lost a like I saw you've lost a ton of weight, looking amazing.
Thank you.
I'm sure you love the gym, but you know that most of it is eating.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
true. That is
So
something I have learned the hard way for sure. Yep.
yeah, and I think that's the thing that people think that if you work out, you're going to get results. You will, you'll get stronger, but you can still look the same if you're eating the same. It just it's just so important to eat better. Um,
Hmm.
that's a whole other topic because I've been really obsessed with the food industry as well
Mm.
and how food industry here they care more about making money than about our health, and that's a whole issue on its own.
Right.
um, yeah.
Now, as a trainer, are you also kind of a nutritionist at the same time? Because, like you said, you're also on your clients to be make sure they're on their diet, make sure they don't go crazy, they don't go gorge out. Is that is that a lot to take on for yourself sometimes when you're just by yourself doing the
Mm.
doing it all by yourself, or are you do you have more people around you? Is your business growing, or what's kind of like the
Uh, I take it on myself. I prefer having that full control. Who knows, maybe in the future, if my business continues to grow,
Mhm.
that might come along where I need someone. But I like being hands-on with all my clients, 100% hands-on. When it comes to being a nutritionist, that's not my job. And a lot of personal trainers aren't nutritionists. All I'm here for is to give advice based on what I've studied and what I've experienced, and I want to hold you accountable. Um, but my nutrition advice only lies in uh, what I've experienced, really. And I know a lot of clients wish or they think they're under the people are under the misconception that as a trainer we know how to eat.
Right.
Um, that's not necessarily true. I do think you often have to go to a nutritionist because everyone is different. But I do also think eating healthy is really simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's a good source of protein, good source of carbs, good source of fats, and then those little micronutrients along the way, like fiber, less sugar, no processed foods, and it's just
Hmm.
that simple. But we make it a lot more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that overthinking that we like to put on our heads and that we just go crazy and just like, oh, forget it, I just give up and just
Yes. Yeah.
is that kind of is that a frustrating part of this of your job when you see someone, you see them progress, you see them doing good, and then out of nowhere they just not snap, but just like up, hands in the air, and they just like, come on, have you ever witnessed that yourself, or has pretty much all your clients been pretty much going on a steady pace to make progressing on a good path?
I think a lot of my clients or a lot of people in the beginning are so motivated. You see a lot of change quick, but then it kind of starts stagnating. So my job is to see how to switch our workouts and see why they're stagnating and how to change that, I think. Um, and fitness, by the way, isn't like you're not going to be like this. You're
Right.
gonna have, it's going to look more like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like anything. So I think it's really important to be that person to encourage them and say, look, you didn't have a great month, but the fact that you're still here is a better month than before you started, you know? I hope that answers your question.
Oh, yeah, no, that's perfect. um, now, are you do you have like your own personal studio, or do you have like everyone meet up at a certain area that you rent out?
Yeah, I rent a space at a gym, so it's kind of like a hairdresser. So they have a hair salon. So there's a fitness salon or whatever you want to call it, a fitness center for trainers only and their client, which I absolutely love because this is a privacy there
Hmm.
um, that you can't have if you go to a big box gym like 24-hour Blink,
Right.
Crunch. I could never be a trainer there, and I don't suggest hiring a trainer from those places because those are very, very green trainers. So, well, it's okay to have a green trainer because sometimes they're really good and they're hungry, but what's more important is they, because I've had that firsthand experience, those big box gyms will take most of the money and the trainers will end up with like very little, like maybe more, a little more than minimum wage. So they're doing a lot of the work and they're under a lot of stress to hit certain amounts of money and they're not happy. And if they're not happy, they're not gonna be
Mm.
as good as they can be. That's firsthand my experience. So I think uh, it's better to find a trainer that's at another, like a private gym
Right.
or working out for themselves and not for a big box gym.
Right. Because they're more, excuse me, they're more looking for if I can get them here, I can get them signed up, I get paid more. If not, well, I'm losing money.
Yeah, and it's not their fault, you
No.
know. It's the big box gyms are like telling them you got to hit this amount of money for us. At least my experience, but
Right.
maybe other gyms are different. I don't know. So that's a stressful thing that I think when you start off being like, I want to help people, now there's this underlying like, well, I need to hit this so they don't fire me. It's a terrible feeling,
Right.
you know? Yeah.
Well, when you were starting out to be a fitness coach, were you looking at those sort of gyms and areas before starting out, before going independent on yourself?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's where we all start at a big box gym.
Okay.
Um, and it's a good place to get encouraged and discouraged, but it's a great place to also meet like-minded individuals and other trainers. And I've made lifelong friends through these big box gyms as well. So, I mean, it is a good stepping stone. Um, Definitely.
Nice. Okay. Now, one of the other loves that you have is cosplay, and I gotta just a quick ask, what about cosplay to you is such a cool thing to do? Is it just the character that you choose to dress up, and then after taking the picture, then going from that, like what's kind of like been your favorite memory of cosplaying?
I think it's just bringing a character to life and other people appreciating what you've created with this character. I think that's very rewarding and it feels great. And you feel like a superhero and you feel like a star for a little bit, for lack of better
Right.
words. And I love that. And I think anyone, if they want to cosplay anyone in particular, they should absolutely do it. Um, Now I think the cosplay world can get a little toxic now. People are very, very, oh, that's not good enough. That doesn't look like the character. But
Yeah,
I mean, we're creating characters that aren't even real life people anyway.
exactly.
So people need to chill out. Yeah.
Exactly.
Have a good time.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's an understatement. Just everyone take a chill pill, Bill. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Life's
Is
too
it,
short for negative
exactly,
energy.
exactly. Is there
Yeah.
a certain character you remember that you enjoy the most cosplaying as?
Um, well, obviously, I say obviously because I think I liked Psylocke, I think got the most positive response. I really enjoyed the variations of her. Um, I enjoyed Mario and Luigi
Mm,
with Anne.
yeah.
I think Mario and Luigi is always a win, even if you're just wearing the Mario hat. Um, Even though I always joked with her, we should have been reversed because I'm taller and she's smaller. But
I mean,
it
I mean,
just,
you don't have to be technical about it.
yeah, right. But again, I like red and she's like, okay, I like green, so that worked out. Um, yeah, and then I liked gender bending to Nathan Drake because I love Nathan Drake. Um, so those are the fun ones I've been. Oh, I enjoyed Wario too. One time I
Oh,
reversed from Mario to Wario, and that
okay.
was fun because I was really mean at the cons. And I'm not really mean, like people know I'm just being a jerk, a Wario jerk,
Right.
but
You're the character. Yeah.
yeah. Exactly. So yeah, those I think off the top of my head I really enjoyed. Yeah.
Do you kind of miss doing the cosplaying as the characters?
Yeah, I do. And I would totally would get back in and do it again. I just haven't really found the opportunity, really. Um, but I would
Do you,
totally do it again. Yeah, it's just been a while. I haven't had a photo shoot in a long time
oh wow.
either. So
Do you
yeah.
want to do a new character you haven't done, or do you want to go back to like do a different style of Psylocke or
Both. I like
okay.
both ideas. I think I will always like to go back to Psylocke and see what she looks like in this version of me now.
Mm,
But then I also there's some characters I've never done. Like there's not necessarily a character in this case, but the armor of Skyrim, the Nightingale armor.
okay.
I've always wanted to cosplay a Nightingale
Mm,
from Skyrim, and I've
okay.
never gotten able to do that. That's something I definitely want to do, but also it would be really hot, so I'm kind of worried about when can I do that where I'm not
Yeah,
going to be dying in that outfit.
that's true.
Um, yeah. Uh, I would like to. I've done her Jade. I'd like to
Mm,
revamp her as well on Mortal Kombat. Um, yeah, those are the characters off the top of my head I'd like to do as well. Yep.
nice. Yes. Speaking of Jade, pretty soon we're gonna get the new Mortal Kombat 1 coming out. Are you gonna be excited playing that game? And what's kind of like your thoughts on that new story they're presenting to everybody?
I'll be honest with you. I have no idea what the new story is. Why don't you tell me?
So, are you familiar with Mortal Kombat 11, the last one they put out?
Yes.
So
Yes.
they are pretty much revamping the universe, the story.
Uh-huh.
It's all pretty much starting from scratch. Um, not Luke Kang. Luke Kang. I think. Why am I forgetting his name? Um,
Which one?
Raiden's protege. Um,
Uh-huh. It is Liu Kang,
oh, it
isn't
is
it?
Luke.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. I'm thinking of his best friend Kung Lao. I was like,
Okay,
wow.
I'm like so confused. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Liu
no.
Kang, yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
it starts off as Luke Kang as the fire god, and he's trying to make sure everything stays as it is. It doesn't. The universe and the time doesn't go crazy, and chaos assumes. He's fighting Sang Shung again, and it looks pretty interesting. Looks pretty unique. They got John Claude Van Damme as Johnny Cage for this one, which I really not really sure how I feel about that, to be totally
The
honest.
video game.
Yeah, the video game.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I think Carl Urban's playing Johnny Cage in the movie.
Yeah, that's exciting. I kind of saw the movie lineup. Um, excited to see that. Yeah, in terms of the video game, I am just down to see what it all looks like. But yeah, the storyline. Sorry. So did you finish the storyline part?
Um, that's no, that's pretty much it.
Ah,
They're trying to like make sure everything stays as it is, but Shang Tsung working for Shao Kahn again, and I think they're trying to redo the Mortal Kombat tournament.
sounds like it, right?
Yeah,
If
but like
if
in a
it's
new
back to that.
yeah, but in a new different way. But
Mm,
I'm just excited about what they're bringing for the DLC characters
mm.
because they're bringing in both Homelander and Omni Man for their DLC. Yeah,
That's
and
wild.
and Peacemaker too. All three.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I wonder how they managed to bring that over.
I imagine they probably brokered some deal like they did
Hmm.
for Injustice for the Turtles. They like, hey, here's a contract. Boom, you get
It
like
doesn't hurt.
right,
Yeah.
free publicity, free money.
I think I that honestly gives me a little more, ooh, I kind of want to play some more because I mean, what is this? Mortal Kombat 12 at this point?
Yeah, 12,
It's a
12.
lot. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm very into seeing what the hype's about. Uh, so we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. And real quick, one of the other passions you have is also the comics. And way back when you did a after show with John Roca for The Flash, and The
Oh
Flash,
yes.
yes, and The Flash recently just ended their series. We'll just real quick, did you finish The Flash all the way through?
I did not.
Mm,
Uh, I am I have strayed away from CW shows because
ah,
I do like CW shows, but they're always really good the first couple seasons and then they crash. So
yeah.
is that the same formula with The Flash, according to you? What do you think? Because I don't know. I
Oh
think for me, it
boy.
started being a little
So, what was the last season you remember
rough.
watching?
It was with Patty. She came in.
Ah, Patty Spivot.
Yeah.
That
And
was that
then
season
I
two?
think it was season three was my last season.
Okay.
So it's been a while.
Yeah, they probably should have ended with season five because they they went all the way to season nine, which they really stretched a lot of things out
Yeah.
to the point where like it's getting kind of hard to watch. And
Yes.
there's a little bit of a spoiler for you. There's literally one line in the final season where one character asks the Flash, "Does this always happen?" And literally a bunch of other characters around her say, "It's a Wednesday." And when does the Flash premiere on the CW? On Wednesdays.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, someone actually wrote that and put it. Someone actually wrote that. Someone okayed that, and it made it on television."
Jeez. I
Yeah.
mean, I think like that happened with me for Riverdale. I'm a huge Archie comic fan. I know
Mm.
that's really silly, but I loved Archie comics growing up.
Archie's awesome. Come on.
They're awesome. And I thought, okay, the CW's take season one on Archie and Riverdale was great. But then by season two, they made it really weird. And by season three, I was done. I can't believe these people talk back to their parents like that, and their parents are like taking it. I'm like, these teenagers need to like get in their place, you know? Made no sense.
No,
Anyway,
no, you're good. Like I haven't get into the Riverside stuff because I was getting ready to, but then I saw they were doing a crossover with Sabrina from the Netflix
yeah,
show, and then after that they all started getting superpowers, and I
yeah, it
was just
was
like,
weird. Got
yeah,
weird.
it got super weird and kooky. I was just like, if I wanted to watch that, I'll go back and watch Archie's Weird Mysteries because that was fun.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
'Cause
Archie's Weird Mysteries. Yeah.
I grew up on that. That was some good. That was some good stuff.
Yeah, it's fun.
I remember you and Campia and John Campia did the kind of an after show thing with Stephen Amell back in the day for Arrow. Do you remember that day still that night when you guys did that, and what was one takeaway from that that you still remember to this day?
The first thing that I could think of that takeaway was that he was really cool. Stephen Amell was really cool. Um, and I think he really enjoys what he does. So now whenever I see him, I think he's really thriving, for all I know. Yeah, that was kind of my takeaway. Very nice guy. Um, yeah.
Nice. Is it a good feeling to see someone like him who, obviously he didn't have to be there. He could be doing other things, but he was so humble with his time and with you guys being so cordial. And then, like you said, seeing him do other things, like in pro wrestling, like in his show Heels, which have you seen? I don't know if you've seen Heels or not.
I know of it. AJ Lee is going to be in it, I think, right?
Yes, she is. She
Yeah.
is.
Who was my favorite diva back then, by the way. Yeah, I think when I see an actor that I've met who did well on his or her kindness, I always root for them a lot more. So seeing him succeed is something I'm really happy to see.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And sticking in the world of pro wrestling, um, you do have a significant other, which a lot of people are aware of, Mr. Nigel McGuinness.
Yeah, you seem so like shy to say it. Yeah.
Uh, I'm not shy. I don't want to put your business out there. I know you're
Sure,
close.
sure. I
I know you.
appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I got some kind of beef with you because I remember around WrestleMania weekend, I sent you a post of an article, some of outlets saying big news coming from Nigel McGuinness. It's like I sent it to like, what's going on? Is he coming? Like I wanted to be like the nosy invasive person, which I'm glad I'm not. I was
You're
like,
not. You're wonderful. But
thank you,
yes.
appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
I was like, is he coming back to NXT? Is he all elite? What's going on? What is this? What is that? And so when you tell me, oh no, it's just a magic show he's doing for WrestleMania weeks, like, oh, okay, that's cool. There,
Well, I mean, that is true as
which is
well.
technically true. That is technically true. Yes. And then I remember watching Super Card of Honor, and they were introducing someone who hasn't been there for a while. I was like, Listening to the music, I was like, who is this? I can't put my finger on who this is. And then he comes, I was like, okay, oh, you just buried the lead, didn't you?
I did.
um, how's that feeling seeing him back in Ring of Honor and AEW? Just seeing him back doing what he loves to do, being commentating pro wrestling again, and then honestly, it is great to hear him back on television. Him and Kevin Kelly is a great tandem, I must admit. How's that feeling for you seeing him do something again that was unfortunately taken away?
Uh, I think I knew, and I think a lot of people knew as soon as he got let go from WWE that he would find a new home in AEW or Ring of Honor or both. So I think it just felt good when it finally happened. It was just a matter of time.
Right.
And that time was like, okay, when's it gonna happen? At least as a significant other, that's kind of how I felt. I think and I'm not just saying this because I'm his girlfriend, but I think he's one of the better commentators.
hmm I,
And I will
I
tell you
agree
from the
with you on
back,
that.
he does a lot of work. Like he really knows his stuff. Um, he's educated and passionate about what he does and who the wrestlers are. And he goes in there knowing who these guys are. And I'm very proud of him for how much work he puts into um, doing his best. Like he, as a wrestler, I'm sure he was a really good wrestler because he put 100% in it. And as a commentator, he puts 100% in it. And I think he deserves all the success. Even if I was to break up with him or whatever, I would be saying the same thing. Like
Right.
he puts
That,
100% into things he does. So
right.
very happy to see him do that.
Not to say that that will ever happen between you guys.
Yeah, sure.
We're expecting some big great things for the future for you too. Hopefully some cordial invites for everyone around for you guys in the future.
Who knows?
Who knows? But that's great to hear. And again, yeah, just seeing him back doing what he does is really great to see. Really great to hear as well. Um, do you did you ever consider yourself, because you're doing a lot of the coaching for fitness, did you ever consider yourself training to be a pro wrestler? Because there is a lot in LA, a lot of schools out there. Did that thought ever cross your mind?
I did, and I did actually train a little bit. I did a seminar. So I did try to learn how to I trained with someone, but we didn't have a ring. So we
Mm.
just did rolls and like moves. His name was Dan Walsh. He was a wrestler.
Okay.
He was a pro wrestler, but never huge. There's a lot of pro wrestlers in the indie world,
Yeah.
FYI, and sometimes you see them make it big and it's great. Um, I went to Santino Brothers for a one of those tryouts, but decided not to. Funny enough, this is when I first started dating Nigel. Decided not to go for it because Nigel was like, "Save your money, I'll train you."
Uh,
And actually, he he's teaching me wrist locks and things, and it's really fun to learn with him. Um, and for a while, you know, wow, Women of Wrestling.
yeah.
I was in the final round to be part of that. So I was
Really?
training with them and they stopped asking me to come in and I was kind
Uh,
of butthurt.
man.
But I also think it's their loss because they do not know what kind of
What
person I would have been in the ring. They're
I
missing out.
I
But
100% agree.
it's all right. Yes.
What's kind of the process in that? Because while that's the Genie Bus backed wrestling
Yes.
promotion, correct? Okay. What was the process behind that? Did you have you come in and present it? Did they have you, hey, present us a character, tell us who you are, sort of thing?
Ooh, it's been a while. That was before COVID happened.
Yeah.
First one was an interview,
Mm.
right? Like you're doing a acting interview, then they ask you to come back, and then that's when there's like just a few people left out of 100, and then you do athletic stuff to see how what your athleticism looks like. And I was pretty good back then because of my obviously my training, personal training, and then Dan Walsh, who helped me learn how to do roles and stuff way back before that came up. So by the time that happened, I was comfortable. And then they ask you to like kind of to think about your character. And then you would just come in and once a week and practice, and that's kind of what it was. But I kind of knew off the bat, um, I probably wasn't gonna make it far because I'm
Mm.
very shy in my
Uh,
nature.
okay.
Um, that's kind of how the industry works. And there was this one girl who was just kind of not a very nice person, but she didn't make it
Uh,
very far, but she made it further than me. And I was like, I knew it was going to happen at some point. But I made friends off of that too. So there's some
oh,
wonderful people in WoW as well,
oh,
I think.
nice.
And then I know AJ Lee is part of WoW. I'm like, dang, because she was my favorite
Yeah.
way
I,
back when.
she I think she still doesn't get as much appreciation as she deserves. Like she
Yes.
was doing stuff at the time of WWE where women's wrestling was not as appreciative, while at the same time they didn't really give them a much of a chance because they were only doing segments based off what happened on Total Divas.
Yeah,
And
I think, yes.
and again, that's nothing against them. That's what it was back then, and obviously is much better and different now. But yeah, AJ Lee was she was so ahead of her time,
She
and it was just,
was.
yeah, it was just unfortunate that she didn't get much more than she could have.
Yeah, and I think she is a blueprint of many women to come.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see Alexa Bliss, I think that is a blonde version of AJ Lee,
Yeah,
right? And then Liv Morgan's a little bit like Alexa Bliss physically, and it just kind of spirals down.
that's true.
Unfortunately, I think AJ Lee did good on not doing Total Divas,
Yeah,
though I would have loved to see that side of her.
mm,
Because I like her.
yeah.
But yes, I think she didn't get enough recognition because she really was awesome. Like she changed the landscape for me of wrestling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And also add another name to the list that you mentioned, Selena Vega as well. She had played her
Yeah,
in played her in that Fighting with My Family movie.
yeah.
Back to your training. Were you after you didn't get that call back after they asked you to leave? Were you still looking to maybe still trying to reach out for that goal, or after that you just like okay,
Yes and no. I'll tell you what, my body hurt a
mm,
lot. And I think to be honest with you, I think there is a lot of pain that wrestlers feel physically anytime they go into the ring. So as much as fans we say that was botched, that didn't look good, they put in a lot of work and we need to respect them for
yeah,
all of that. They're doing
oh yeah,
big spectacle. They're hurting their bodies. They're risking broken bones and distortions. And I respect them after trying that a lot more. No matter what level wrestler you are, you got to have some kind of crazy in you to keep going.
no, yeah, definitely. And
Yes.
and on that, when you were doing your training, when you were running the ropes, did you get much more of appreciation for all those guys and gals that were putting their bodies on the line
Yes.
every day, every week? Did you got a new level of appreciation, just like the physical, and I'm guessing also the mental and emotional that comes all with it as well?
Definitely. I think it's a lot of work and a lot of dedication and a lot of love for wrestling. Definitely.
Before we kind of wrap this whole thing up, I want to thank Kaori for joining us. You've been awesome. You've been great. Thank you so much. Um, Another things you like is gaming, and one of the better gaming movies that came out this year was the Super Mario Brother movie. Did you get a chance to go out and see it when it first came out? And have you
I
seen it
did.
since? Okay. As a gamer yourself, did you feel the movie paid paid homage, paid tribute to the game itself better than the other previous movies did?
I mean, who didn't? I mean, the first one was a terrible. I'm sorry. It was
No.
awful. I mean, I know one person that thought it was great, but that person wasn't a gamer. I know
Okay.
your eyes just popped, right? So, um, I think the new one was very entertaining, visually perfect, a lot of fun, but I don't have a desire to see it again, if that makes any sense. Um, I found it interesting that they made Luigi the damsel in distress over Peach.
That's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
because Peach was kind of the one just going headfirst into everything.
Yeah. And that shows kind of it's indicative of our time now.
Mm,
Um,
That
so I thought that was a nice, interesting switch. Uh, yeah, it was really cute. I loved the visuals. It was great. And I'm piggybacking off of video games lately, a lot of video game turned TV or movies have been doing a lot better than in our previous predecessors. I
that
think
is true.
The Last of Us was pretty good.
Uh, that literally became one of my favorite shows this year. Like
Yes. And I think what
I,
saved it was because they had the creator of the video
mhm.
game help with that.
Yeah,
So,
oh, definitely. And honestly, I never played the game itself, but I was aware of The Last of Us. I watch a couple like cutscenes on YouTube and stuff like that, so I was aware of the characters, the story, and everything in it. But just seeing that show from start to finish,
mhm.
Man, that's one special thing, and it literally made one of the greatest episodes in TV history with Bill and Frank.
Yes,
Like, my
very.
God,
You need to play the game.
I know, I know. I got my PSF right here in front of me. I need to get The Last of Us. I need to get The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, you need to play it. If there's one game you're gonna play, drop it all, Last of Us right now. Join us.
I will. I will. And another thing about that show, they really stayed true to what the clickers were in the game as well, and
Yes,
kind of evolve on that too. Because when they show that bloater scene and during the season, I was like, damn,
it was very
they
scary in the game, so they did a good job. Hmm.
yeah, and on one episode where Ellie and her friend, oh man, I'm blanking on her
I
name right
forget
now.
her name too. I know who you're talking about. That
Yeah,
episode where they
that
went to
episode to the mall.
uh,
Yeah, that's another heartbreaking scene right there. And you just
yeah.
and yeah, at one point you're looking at it, it's like they're just kids, and they're living in this post-apocalyptic world that they just happen to be born in,
Hmm.
and it's
Yeah.
man,
Well, that whole episode is a DLC.
that's what I've heard. Like that whole
Yeah,
episode was a DLC that happened after the game was already finished and
right.
everything.
Yeah.
And I'd like to get your opinion on this. And spoilers for everybody who's watching. At the end, we see Joel make the decision. I know it's been debated for years. Do you think Joel did the right thing, not giving Ellie that choice?
That's really hard because I think he is a surrogate father to her. And as a father, you make decisions for your child who isn't of age.
Right.
Um, I think ultimately he just saw it as saving her life
Rather than
and
saving the world.
saving the world. And I think if I was in his position, I would save my child's life too. So it would take a lot out of me to sacrifice something that could happen versus the certainty of saving my child's life. What about you?
You know, based on the world that they presented to us, I feel like he probably should have given her the chance to make that decision,
Hmm.
because we see later on in the second game, she blows up at him and gives him a lot of grief about taking that choice away from her.
Sure. Yeah.
And we see how that damages the relationship between them a little bit.
Yes.
So if you can only imagine what if he did give her that choice, that option back then, who knows if she would have said yes? Who knows if she would have said no? Who knows if
She
it would
probably
have
would have said yes, though.
she probably would have, because in that one scene where she was like looking at the stars, she's such a explorer. She's so open minded. She wants to be a hero. She wants to be
Yeah.
that savior. And it's
Yeah.
like she probably would have, but uh, and I've seen all the debates after watching that episode, and just like seeing all the fans just like going back and forth. It's like, yeah, I see both sides. It's
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, and Joel already lost his first daughter. I think
mhm.
the idea of losing another was just absolutely unbearable to him, right? So
Yeah,
it's hard.
it definitely is. And I'm going to assume that show is going to be nominated for every single Emmy that's going to be coming out in a couple of days,
Yeah.
and probably winning more than half of them as well.
Hmm.
But on that note, we're going to thank Kaori Takee for joining me today. It was such a great time talking to you about everything you've been up to, all the work you've been doing, and just geeking out with you as well at the same time. It's been a lot of fun. We've been planning this for a long time. I'm glad we finally
Yes.
get to do it.
So thank you so much for having me and being patient. And
Of
I
course.
should let everyone know what an outstanding guy you are, Sam. You're wonderful and
Stop.
you have a lot of discipline. I can tell because of all the weight loss. That takes a lot of discipline. Like for me as a fitness trainer or fitness coach, when I see someone with physical changes, I see that person, I say that person's strong. in the inside and out because it takes a certain mentality. So I'm so proud of you for putting your
Yes.
health first, really.
Thank you. I very much appreciate it. Crazy how I was like, what, 8 years since the last time like we saw face to face to each other?
Yeah, with a long time.
Yeah, I was a lot bigger back then. I'm probably, oh wow. Yeah, I'm probably about like 60 to 70 pounds lighter than I was
That's
then.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. That's a whole person. That's like a
Oh,
toddler or something, you know?
pretty much. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
oh man, the biggest I was probably like I was pushing 420.
Oof, that's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, and pushing 420, and the lightest I was like 235. And I'm like I'm hovering between 240, 250 right now. It's like working life is kind of being crazy, so I got
Sure.
yeah, just gotta get back into it, just getting back on the hump and everything.
But I mean, for people who I'm sure people want to know about your weight loss, like what is it that has motivated you to not only lose the weight, but keep going?
What's been motivating me really is just if I would have continued the lifestyle I was going, as in me just being 400 plus pounds, eating everything, just being lazy, doing nothing, I I'll probably be dead right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
I would not be here talking to you. I'm gonna be straight up
Wow.
honest. I'm and there's just so much life to live, not to see, It's just it's a lot of opportunities out there that you don't want to miss out on. And I figure, you know what? Yeah, I could be here and just say, people don't like me, that's on them. I just like myself. I could be saying that till I'm blue in the face. While I'm blue in the face, I could be killed over and dying because I can't breathe or having a heart attack because I'm so big. My heart can't keep up with all the weight. But I just I buckled down, went to the doctor, they tell me what I needed to do. And I think that's another thing people are afraid to do is go to your doctor. Yeah, it might be scary for them to tell you you're this and this, but it's a difficult conversation to have.
Mhm.
And it's okay to have that conversation. Please have that because you might just be saving your life.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
looking back on it now, it's just like, huh, thank God I did it because I've literally every piece of clothing that I have that was 4X, 5X, it's now gone. I don't see that anymore. I only see an XL or maybe 2X, but now that those have shrunken because of the washer and dryer nonsense. But yeah, the largest I see now is an L and XL, which I am definitely okay with just seeing.
Woohoo. You got to clip all this and put this on your Instagram because you're such an inspiration.
I definitely will, and I appreciate you saying that, and it's really great hearing that. And thank you so much. And seeing all you do for everyone out there, and it just gets me to think, what am I doing? Am I just gonna sit here just scroll on YouTube and Instagram and not do nothing, or am I actually gonna do something? You know, and forgive me on the language, get off my ass and let's go.
Sure.
Come on.
The
Yeah,
world's your oyster, Sam.
it's my oyster. I'm trying to climb in it. I'm trying to thrive. I'm trying to strive and I'm trying to survive, but uh, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
You got this.
I definitely do. I appreciate all the support you're throwing back at me. I am gleaming with joy with it. I appreciate it so
Good.
much, Corey.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, absolutely, and I honestly appreciate all the like the friendship we have made right here. I know I'm
Yes.
just some random weird kid that messaged you that wanted to talk to you also years ago, but
No worries. We're friends. We're
oh,
friends.
absolutely, of course we are. But yeah, again, I appreciate it. It's been so great talking to you. It's always a pleasure talking to you, just geeking out, talking about your business, your stuff, all your past and everything else like that. Um, if anyone wants to know more about you and everything you do for your fitness and everything, where can people find you online if they wanted to?
You can find me at KAORIOUS on all of those social media stuff. KTfitness.pro is my website. And there you have it.
There you have it, everybody. And you guys can follow me on TikTok and Twitter at SamMac55. You guys can follow me on Instagram at SamMacias5, Facebook at SamMacias55 as well. Make sure you guys follow me on Threads. Follow her on Threads too. She's on there
Mm.
as well. She forgot to mention that.
I am. I don't know how to use. I'm overwhelmed. I'm spectating.
Think of Twitter, but better.
Oh, it's better. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll try it out.
Yeah, follow her on there. Follow me there as well. Make sure you like this video. Comment on there about what you like about it. Subscribe to the channel as well. Make sure we get those subscriber numbers up. And until next time, everybody. Bye.